Keep your radio dial right here. You're locked into the hottest news station on the planet. Hot 702.5 in FM sound. Blazing today's hip-hop, R&B, and pop music. Keeping your radio on fire. Bringing you the hottest, realest, riskiest talk shows live 24/7 on hot7025fm.com.
What's going on, everybody? It's your main man, 360, the poet from the Morning Wood, and I'm here to talk to you about the Sci-Fi Center. It's your Vegas home for science fiction, horror, and fantasy. From comic books, toys, and posters to movie screenings and live events, they've got you covered. Located at 900 Caron Avenue, Suite B209, give them a call, 702-900-4335, or reach them at thescificenter.com.
Hey, what's up?
All your favorite artists.
Check it out. DJ Khaled.
This is Mila J.
Bruno Mars.
On hot7025fm.com.
Yo, it's Tavon Greatness Patterson. Want to listen to Hot 7025 on the go? Download the Hot 702.5 app on the Apple Store or Google Play Store if you got an Android like me.
Let's get it.
Welcome back. Oh, did I? All right. Oh, there we go. Welcome back. Happy Wednesday, everybody. How y'all doing today? I hope y'all looking and feeling as good as I feel today. It's been a great week. Mentally, it's been a great week. It's been a really good week for me. Then a lot of recovering, a lot of working things out within myself. You know, stop letting certain things get to me, of course, for sure. First things first. How y'all doing? How have y'all week been? Mine has been pretty good, pretty great with the kids and all. I will say that this past week was I think I said it last week on the show a little bit, more of an epiphany for me to realize, like certain things I gotta take a step back. I gotta get back to reality, kind of focus on back to me. You know what I mean? And that's kind of what I did this last week. I kind of just made it all about me. I slept in on an off day, made sure I got some rest. Only worried about what I had going on. I was a little selfish this past week, and I must admit that it was definitely worth it. It was definitely worth it for sure. I gotta start taking more time to myself. Maybe every month or every other month. I got hella kids, so it's kind of hard to do it with 4 of them things. You know what I mean? 4 of them things are at home with me. So definitely is something to work on with that. Anyway, besides that, what's going on? My daughter Kalila, the oldest one. I don't know, man. It's like she's got a habit of cursing, and I don't really know how to feel about that. We were just sitting down the other day, casually talking, and she was just telling me, she said, I told my TT Jessica that, it's like I told my TT that I wanted to go into this teacher's class for, I want to say she said Play-Doh. She had Play-Doh. And my TT Jessica told me, I don't give a fuck about that teacher. And the way she just so casually repeated it to me, I felt like, why are you so comfortable using those words? We got to work on that. So that's something I'll be working on with them. Mainly just her is the language, because you can't be talking like that all the time, especially because you're only a kindergarten girl. Calm down and relax. Other than that, as y'all see, I actually put on a nice little suit today. It's been a minute since I really got dressed up and, felt like, being me. I used to wear one of these every single day. Now it's like I kind of be at work so much I don't have time to wear one. I think that's kind of crazy. I need to go back to that. And before you ask, I'm not wearing no full suit to work at mini golf and walking around, all of that good stuff. It's just it hurts the feet after about 8 hours, and I do 12, 13-hour shifts, so I'm not really trying to go there. I'll definitely say that now. But I'm definitely excited to be back in one. It's been pretty nice to be able to put one on at least. I've tried to change my work schedule so that way I can actually get more time away from work. I spend more time with the kids, with myself, friends and family, loved ones that are close to me. Also, with today being the 20th, today is my best friend's birthday, so shout out to Sydney. It's her 31st birthday, gang. So she's out doing her thing, celebrating. I believe she is on a little road trip right now with her man, so I'm sure they're having fun and enjoying themselves, but shout out to her. Again, y'all know how important my best friend is to me, so of course, if you know, I definitely had to send a shout out for the birthday. Besides that, though, I'm not saying I'm all the way out of the hole with things, but I'm definitely doing better with them. I'm handling them a lot better than I did before. And what's up with all of this rain out of nowhere? If y'all are in Vegas, if you're not in Vegas, man, lately for the last few months, this entire year actually, we probably had more rain this year alone than we've had in the last maybe 10 years. And I may be over exaggerating, but that's how serious it is. We don't really see rain this often, and it's been coming frequently. I'm not complaining at all. It is nice to have a cool day instead of a very warm and hot day, so I appreciate it, but it's just we normally have not seen that kind of stuff lately, so to see rain just pop up out of nowhere, hey, touche for sure. Glad to see it, for real glad to see it. A couple other minor things I want to talk about first before we dive into any of the major topics today. I kind of want to go over this whole Blueface and Krishan thing. And I don't want to spend too much time on it because I just don't think it's worth it. I'm going to be honest. Let's start from the beginning, okay? When Blueface and Krishan first started dealing with each other, she laughed at that man's baby mama, laughed at everything she was going through. She talked so bad to her because she felt like, I got him now. It is what it is. Let's fast forward to some time down the road. She gets pregnant. He goes back to the original baby mama. Remember, she's been there longer and been there first. Now, Krishan is dealing with the same backlash she was given to the other woman. And everyone tried to justify that when I don't think that was fair. I feel like it is what it is. You allowed it. You did it to that girl. Now it's happening to you. It is what it is. I have no sympathy just based off the fact of how you treated the other woman when you were in her position. So... hey, whatever. And it was right for me to feel that way, not to have any sympathy, because now it looks like after all of that talking and all of that bullshit, everybody trying to defend her and jump down Blueface's neck and jump down his throat and talk bad about him. After the child was born, not to mention she changed the baby's name to his name now. The baby's a junior now, right? And they're back dealing with each other again. So I say that to say everyone talked about that man and had it out for him and damn near wanted to, get him canceled, if you for lack of a better word. And she went back to him. Where do we hold her accountable for allowing herself to be put in that position? Because it just may happen again where he goes back to the other woman and then, back to her when he pleases and chooses. But when do we hold the women accountable for allowing it? I always say this, and I don't say this to downplay the men. I don't say this to, be a smart aleck to the women or nothing. But a man is only going to do what you allow, okay? So regardless of the fact that you feel like, oh, no, he's coming back because he realized that it ain't perfect over there, or he realized that ain't what he wanted over there. That's not the case. The true case is he knows that regardless of what he does, you're going to allow him to act like this or allow him to do certain things that, that you don't too much care for. You don't want him to do it. You don't want him to be like that. But in order to have him around, you'd allow him to rather do those things. You'd rather allow him to do those things and play with your emotions and feelings than to sit there and have boundaries and say, no, I'm not going to stand for this. Because it is okay to say, no, I'm not going to stand for this. You know what I mean? But for some reason, it's better for you all to allow the man to stay around because you feel like, well, I'd rather have some part of him than have none of him. And you're already devaluing yourself right there. I'm just going to be honest. Let's just be honest about it. They always say this whole thing with women cheating or with a man cheating, right? and why women allow men to cheat and why they stay and why they do this and why they do that. But y'all whole argument is, why is a man cheating? Yet you've sat there with more than one man and you've allowed them to cheat more than one time and just be there. The reason it's happening is because you're allowing it to. You all are allowing it to. I guarantee you, if every woman woke up tomorrow and they stated and said, I will leave every man that even cheats on me once. And if y'all were to just start leaving these men every time they cheated, I guarantee you men would stop cheating more. They would stop cheating as much because you would leave at the first sign of it happening. So you can't blame the man for taking advantage of something being offered to him. Because any man is going to sit there and say, well, she's not going to be mad about me sleeping or messing with these other women while I still have her here at home. So why should I stop doing that when I'm getting the best of both worlds? I'm being balanced on my Libra scale. I had to throw that pun in there. No man is going to sit there and say, hey, fuck it, let me go ahead and stop doing it even though she's allowing me to. They're going to keep on going with it. Because I guarantee you, if a woman approached me, I have never believed in cheating in my life. I feel like if I got to cheat, I should just be single, because obviously there's something there that's missing and I want it from somewhere else. That's how it is. But if a woman were to come up to me after would meet me the first time and she said, listen, this is the kind of relationship I want to have. I know as a man that you have these needs and maybe I'm not able to fulfill them sometimes, but just be safe and don't bring me nothing home, and try to keep it in the street, keep it quiet as you can in the streets, right? Don't let it just be out there all nonchalant like it's just thrown in my face. Now, if a woman came and told me that, she just gave me the authority to say, I don't care if you fuck with other women. I just want you to remember where home is, and I want you to be safe and make sure you return back home to my bed every night. If a woman came and approached me with that, I'm going to take it. I'm going to take the offer every single time. And it can be 10 years down the road, and if she sits there and she gets mad at me, I'm going to be like, what are you upset about? Because you allowed this to happen. Now, that's different from the woman coming to sit down with me to say, hey, listen, I know for the last 10 years, this is how we've been having things going. This is kind of how we've been rocking. But I feel like I'm kind of having a change of heart. Can we talk about this? Can we have this conversation? And of course, you'll want to have that conversation. But that's not what's going on. You women are sitting there dealing with these men for 10, 15 years. And I don't care if it's just a month or two. I don't care if it's just a year or two. You are letting this person cheat and then allowing them to come back because all's forgiven now, right? Okay, all's forgiven, and then they do it again to you. And you got to just keep saying all's forgiven to a point to where you get it. And you're just like, I hate this person. I hate what they did to me and what they continue to do to me. When in reality, you should say, I hate that I let this person do that to me. I hate that I allowed them to get so far into my head that they were able to just go ahead and allow me to allow them to do me wrong. It's not going to happen. Just like I tell the fellas all the time, y'all talk about these women and with these attitudes and issues, how about y'all cut them off when that shit happens? You sit there, you cut them off, and you walk away. But instead, y'all can't walk away because the head too good. I ain't gonna lie, I've been there before. The pussy too good, the head is immaculate. You know what I mean? Everything about Shorty's body is just banging, and the sex is fire, sex is great. But it ain't everything, you know what I mean? After a while, when you start to see that sex is getting old and tired, you start to realize, what the fuck am I doing here? So, to each his own. You allow the other person to do what they want to do. And if you keep allowing them to treat you wrong or talk to you wrong or cheat on you or be disrespectful, you just got to sit there and deal with that shit. I'm tired of everybody blaming everybody else when they forgot the whole saying of whenever you point the finger, three are pointing back. So you can point all you want. But remember, when you're pointing, you got these three here pointing back at you. So regardless of the situation, where do you have accountability within yourself? That's actually one of the topics I do want to talk about today. I want to talk about pride and ego, honestly. Really, ego and confidence, to be for sure. Because a lot of you all have that mixed up where you guys think that ego and confidence is the same thing. But I think there's a difference between it. I think there's a difference between being successful and self-sabotage with those two things. I think there's a couple different arguments you can have to say that they are completely different, and again, these are my personal opinions of my own, so don't try to fight me for the way I feel about something. It is what it is. You feel a way, you either call in or come on a show and we can talk about it. But other than that, I don't want to hear it. It's your time to listen for now. Not to be funny, but, literally from here until 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, it's your time to listen. I want to read something that kind of deals with ego and confidence. And then once I'm done reading it to you all, I can actually give my comments so that way you all have a better idea of where I'm coming from. Context. I want to give you the context behind it. So it says, many are guilty of buying into the common misconception that ego and confidence are essentially the same thing. They equate both with a brazen attitude that's seemingly unflappable under pressure. It's even been said that talking on such an attitude at work will get you ahead in your career. Now, the reality, however, is that these two concepts are quite different. To have confidence is to have faith in your own abilities and believe in yourself. Right? That's confidence, and confidence is key. But the ego is something else entirely. Unlike confidence, the ego operates out of self-interest. It seeks approval, accolades, and validation at all costs in order to be seen as right. It is resistant to feedback and assigns motive where there isn't any. I just want to take a quick break there because I like how it says that it operates out of self-interest, because ego, and this is to fellas, this is to y'all. Ladies, take a seat for a second, just sit back and listen. This is to my fellas. Ego is it is a toxic thing to have nowadays. Ego could be a blessing and it can be a curse, and lately everyone is using it as a curse. But that ego, it is self-serving. So one thing you have to learn how to do is to put it aside sometimes. Or just quite frankly, forget about it sometimes. I'm not telling you to take your ego and throw it out the fucking window, shoot it, burn it, and then throw it into space. Whatever the case is, I'm telling you to learn the difference between telling your ego, hey, chill out for a second, versus telling your ego, hey, I got this. Or hey, you take control. You know what I mean? So a lot of you feel like your ego has gotten you to these places, and then you wonder why you're not getting the help you need or the help you seek. It's because you're letting your ego get in the way of all of that. You're just letting it ruin some things. Before I continue, let me finish the article here. In the workplace, it is these very differences that will make or break your career. That's because when you allow the ego to take over, bad behavior ensues. Suddenly, no one can get the job done quite like you can, and all sense of teamwork goes out the window. It's one thing to work hard out of passion and a sincere dedication to results. It's an entirely different thing to take on a self-righteous attitude and judge others along the way. Taking on such an egocentric outlook will close your mind to new solutions and inhibit you from learning the lessons at hand. Growth will soon come to a halt, as will your contributions to the organization. From there, it's just a matter of time before management grows tired of the drama and is left wondering what you bring to the table in terms of value and results. Now, I'm going to take a break there, because the reason why I chose this article per se is because it talks about teamwork. This one may specifically talk about the workplace, but I feel like that actually entails to even relationships, friendships, kids, parenting. Because when you, when you are sitting there and pretty much, let's take a relationship, for example. Let's say your partner is trying to learn how to balance a checkbook, right? Even though we haven't had to, Let's say your partner has had to learn how to balance a checkbook. You are way more experienced at it, but your partner has a learning curve with the balance in that checkbook. And they're trying, but they're making a couple mistakes, but those mistakes kind of piss you off a little bit. And then you go to say, you know what, just let me do it. Let me take it over. I got it. And now you're more concerned with getting the job done than making sure your teammate, your partner, is also learning along with you. They're growing with you. That's what it's supposed to be. Team. We grow together. So when you're doing that now, you're making your partner, your teammate, feel like, well, what the fuck am I around for if all you're going to do is make it seem like you're better than me and nobody can do it as good as you can? I'll never get that chance if you don't allow me to. If you don't help me get there, if you don't help me grow, how am I supposed to get to that level? Instead, you throw it in my face every single time I mess up that you're better than me. So after a while, your partner's going to feel like, wait a minute, time out. Let's sit down with HR, right? Let's sit down with HR. And I say HR, healthy relationship. Let's sit down with HR. I don't feel like this is healthy. I feel like this is toxic. I feel like it's causing a problem. I feel like it's this. I feel like it's that. Your partner becomes to you and express how they feel about you, making them feel less of themselves. And you all take that as an attack. Why? Why? That is not an attack. That is your partner expressing how they feel. And you, as the partner, should be able to say, you know what, I know you feel that way, and I'm sorry that I'm part of the reason you're feeling that way. How can we work on it? Instead, it's like, oh, here you go again. I'm always the problem. You're never wrong. You're the perfect person, and yada, yada, yada. And you start people start deflecting and pointing the finger. I don't like it. In fact, I think you should be able to have that conversation and learn how to put yourself in check, which we're going to get there right now, okay? Keeping your ego in check is necessary to excel and establish job security in any organization. Here's how this can be achieved. Stop making it all about you. We already know that, right? You can't keep making everything about you and expect it to be a team effort if it's always just about you. So curb your desire to be seen as right, all while proving others wrong. Your need for appreciation and credit is what's keeping you from adding value and contributing to organizational goals. Staying focused on what's next will make you emotionally inexpensive and lead to better results. You see that? Lead to better results, which is what you need. Ditch your defensive mindset. This is the one I've been waiting to read for y'all. Going on the defense at work will never play out in your favor. Instead of rattling off the first thought that pops into your head, take a deep breath, go to a more neutral place with a response such as wow or good to know. It is from a more balanced, neutral mindset that the best decisions are made, especially among leadership. Greeting change or the unexpected with an open mind rather than resistance will put you in a better position to handle next steps. Now, I know y'all are probably like, why are you saying this to the fellas? Why are you saying this to the fellas? Because fellas, let's consider that this is a job. Let's consider our friendship, our relationships, our family. Let's consider it as a job, right? The thing about a job is you have to, as a man, you are the leader. You are the provider. You are the one that makes the hard decisions and the hard choices, okay? So if you are the so-called leader and so-called, provider in the family, friendship, whatever the case may be as a man, why are you so quick to throw everybody else and shoot them down over advice that might help you? Because I'm not about to sit here and say, oh, you know what? Well, you may be my woman, but, I got 10 plus years in cell phone experience. You don't know nothing about that. So I'm not trying to hear what you got to say. When her advice probably had nothing to do with the cell phone industry, it probably had to do with how I can get back to it. Right? Nothing to do with it. But because my ego sat there and I had to push her down and show her, no, fuck what you talking about. I know more than this. I couldn't even hear that advice. I couldn't even get on that roadmap to get back to where I wanted to go. Right? We are all so full of the, oh, here you go, it's me. We need to lead by example. I've said this once before, I've said it a million times, and I'll say it again. Since when are we in the business of playing tit for tat with women? When are we in the business of, well, they do it, so it's okay if we do it? Now, I get sometimes you're trying to prove a point. Sometimes there are some things that are out of your hand that you kind of got to play that part and play that role. I get it. I completely get it. But overall, as men, we are here to lead by example. So even though they may feel that way, it is our job to say, you know what, well, this is how it really should be versus, all right, I'm going to play that game with you. Let me go ahead and play that game with you. No, as a man, we're here to say, I know you want to play this game, but I feel like if you put that controller down and picked up this one instead, you'd have a much better time. I know you like that one because of this, X, Y, and Z, but I think you should come play this one because of A, B, and C, and it might lead you to a better road trying to get to D, E, or F. That's how we should be doing it. Not know, oh, you want to play around or you want to talk to other dudes? Well, I'm going to go try to fuck your homegirls. I'm going to go try to talk to your friends and yada, yada, yada. Fuck is that going with that? It's just a fucking toxic cycle. That's all it is. And you know what it is getting in the way of that? The reason why you can't sit there and actually get to a better level and to reach with that person, your partner, friend, or family, because your ego is so hurt that you want to attack back with your ego. Other than putting it to the side and realizing and saying, you know what? I think I need to sit back for a second and kind of hear you out and listen to this. It can be that easy. The fact that your ego will actually stop you from so many blessings It's crazy. It's crazy. And as men, we are the biggest ones doing this because we feel our egos are like our suit of armor. Okay? That's how we feel. The ego is our suit of armor. And we can't dent it. We can't crack it, bend it, break it, nothing. We have to keep that armor on, and it has to always stay there to protect us. That's what we feel. But I'm telling y'all right now, your ego is not a suit of armor. It's not. Your ego is more of a suit that you put on. You're right. It is a suit. But it's a suit that you can take on and, put on and take off. It is. So when you constantly decide to keep it on, it's going to get dirtier and dirtier. It's going to get worn out, beaten up. So when you finally decide to take it off and wash it, it's going to look like a completely different suit by that time. Completely different. And I'm telling y'all now from personal experience, learn to, how do I say this in a way that doesn't seem to be attacking y'all? Learn to work with your ego. Learn to find out how to have your best interests at heart while also realizing what your ego is doing to weigh you down. Learn to balance it out. Again, with the Libra scale joke. Learn to balance it out. Learn to be the best version of you. So I'm not saying it's going to take a day or two to work on it, to learn it, but you can definitely figure it out. You can definitely get there. Practice makes perfect. That's all I can say. It's like the 5 P's. Perfect practice prevents poor performance. So if you just practice at it, you try it day after day, you'll be able to get there. You'll get better at it. You'll do better at it. So, it is what it is. Sorry. Back to the article now. I kind of went away for a second. But I'm back. Brought myself back. You need to curb self-righteous actions and judgment. So it's quite easy to sit back and pick apart someone else's strategy or plan and determine ways in which it could potentially fail. Instead of judging the actions or decisions of others, offer your expertise and do what you can to help improve it and mitigate risk rather than making it worse. You may not have been consulted or had the opportunity to weigh in initially, but that's no reason to withhold information or insight that could make the plan better. Giving your time and talent freely and without reserve or judgment will make you highly marketable and valuable to your organization. Again, that's what work. I think that's what everything though. If you can learn to be more, diverse, not just with, skin color, but more diverse in anything in life. You could just be more diverse with working with people, talking to people, more diverse with taking advice rather than giving advice. It's really all about what you choose to do with yourself. And a lot of y'all are sitting here stuck in a situation, and this part is for a generality for everybody. You are all sitting here talking about y'all are fighting demons right now. It's not demons you're fighting. It's the lack of accountability. You are dealing with karma, but you don't want to accept the fact that you did some fucked up shit, and now it came back to you. You don't want to accept the fact that you talked to somebody crazy, you treated somebody wrong or bad, and now it's coming back to get you. So all of these demons y'all claim to be fighting, not demons, it's accountability. It's you learning to be responsible for your own actions. You can label it a demon, you can label it a battle, depression, whatever you want to call it. You label it whatever you want. But at the end of the day, realize that this is just karma. That's all that is. You're not fighting no demons. You're dealing with life the way it's supposed to be thrown at you. The way you threw life at yourself or somebody else, now it's coming back to you. So, sorry but not sorry. But you can't sit here and try to make it seem like it's everybody else's fault on why something ain't working or why you can't get something done. That's another part of your ego. You don't want to be able to take a L. It's not a loss, it's a lesson. Learn from your mistakes. Learn from the things you did wrong. Learn from your past. Learn from other people's past. Learn from other people's mistakes. Stop sitting there thinking that you are just perfect and you will never make a mistake. Because anybody that thinks like that, you show me somebody right there and I'll show you somebody that's not accountable. Simple as that. Easy as that. Drive for results and learning. If all else fails and things do not go as planned, it doesn't matter who is at fault. Pointing the finger and digging your heels in at a certain point is counterproductive. See what I'm saying? Stop focusing on what already happened and focus on how you can fix it. Simple as that. Instead, focus on learning from the experience. Honestly consider what was done well and what efforts will have room for improvement. By taking on that outlook, the experience will serve as a teachable moment that will enable you to formulate a stronger approach and get better results in the future. Woo! At the end of the day, confidence will get you ahead, but the ego will only hold you back. I think I started off by saying that. Recognizing the difference and acting accordingly is what separates the best and the brightest from the rest. So, oh, that was a good one. That was a good little article for you. So, all in all, it goes to say that your ego is completely different from your confidence. Your confidence will take you up levels, but your ego will drag you down as you go. You can get a lot further by letting that ego go as you climb. Nobody said that you couldn't stop and check on it every once in a while. Nobody said you couldn't, deliver a speech that was made all from your ego, But what we're saying is learn to balance it. Learn the difference between, letting your ego block you versus it blessing you. You know what I mean? Fellas, we are the biggest criminals when it comes to this. We do this a lot. And again, it is no easy task to work around it. It is no easy task to continue it and to, try to perfect it as much as you can. But it is worth it. It is definitely worth it. It is definitely worth it. And again, everybody always says that you mentioned fellas. No disrespect to the women, but this platform that I have, it is mainly for the fellas. It is mainly for the fellas. Fellas go through a lot. They need to hear some things. They need to be told some things. Sometimes I am a little cruel and a little harsh with them because I need them to understand and see that we are holding ourselves back. They need to see that regardless of what it is, sometimes, fellas, we are our own culprits. We are our own assailants to being victims. You know what I mean? And I'm here to let y'all know that when it is happening and when it isn't. I don't care if you feel bad. I don't care if you get mad at me. I just care that you hear me. Simple as that. I just care that you hear me. Okay, my bad, y'all. I got all into that with going on. So what I will say is, now that I've talked about, now that we've gotten that one out the way, I want to talk about a little saying that I love to go by, but I want to try to find a way to change this or to make this better. The saying goes, tough times create strong men. Strong men create easy times. Easy times create weak men, and weak men create tough times. I completely agree with the entire statement. Before anything, I completely agree. I think that is exactly to the T on how it is. Here's my take on that. I had to deal with nothing but tough times. I'd like to consider myself a strong man. I think I'm a very strong man. Honestly, with everything I've been through and I continue to go through. So, with that being said, I do find ways to make it easier for my children so they don't have to go through those things. But in reality, I've also been trying to find a way to make sure they do go through some of those things because it is needed. I say that because I feel like if we as a whole, if we started creating a balance to where it's like we do want to protect our children, but shielding them from reality is not going to protect them, because at one point in time they're not going to be under our roof anymore, under our command, under our house, under our wing. They're going to be on their own. And the last thing I want my children to have to worry about is reality hitting them out of nowhere because it's something I didn't prepare them for. So one of the things is, like, my kids, my boys, I'm going to make sure when they get older they understand just the generalities of being a man, right? Yeah, you want to hold doors open. You want to be respectful, be responsible, be professional. Don't be a pervert, you know what I mean? Be a gentleman. I want to show them that. And what I do is, like right now, I'm having a tough time with getting my son to open up his sister's door every time. When they get in the car or whether it's the front door, I need him to remember that it is his job to open a door for her. But on one hand, I'm also letting my daughter know that if he won't do it for you, of course daddy will, but you can do it yourself. It's not hard. You can do it yourself as well. Which is a way to teach my daughter that a man should hold the door open for you. But that don't mean he has to. That don't mean he will do it. That don't mean he should. So if you have to do it yourself, do it and call it a day and move on. Don't stress over it. To my son, as a gentleman, you should be opening doors. You should be making sure that they're okay. Now, you don't have to and you don't need to, but understand that if you don't, it's going to look crazy on you as a man just sitting there or letting a woman walk through the door without you opening it. But whatever you choose to do is what you choose to do. I want my kids to understand that there are going to be harsher realities than just opening doors. Right? I want my kids to understand that sometimes you may have to struggle with meals because you have to take care of responsibilities. I want my children to know that everybody in this world isn't going to play nice and be friends and be friendly with you just because you want them to. A lot of people are going to play like your friend and they're going to just stab you in the back. And the hard truth to that is you can't do nothing about it because you will never see it coming. Sorry, you'll never see it coming. I want them to understand that life is fucking crazy. Life is wild. Life is weird. And as them being children, black children, and being black in America, it's even tougher because I said you got a target on your back already. All I can teach you to do is cover that target up as best you can. I can just teach you how to act in public, how to be in public, but I don't want you to think that nothing is going to happen because I do want you to understand consequences are real. I am huge on that. When my kids do something, they have to learn that there are consequences. So you wrote in a school book at school that you shouldn't be doing it in. You know what? It's not about the fact that the book can be replaced, but it's about what you did and what requires that. So now you can't rent books for a while. Not because the school told you not to, but because I did. And it's not because I'm trying to stop you from anything. It's because I need you to understand that that's costing money. That is a consequence. Somebody has to pay for the damages you do to something else. Whether it's a school book, whether it's somebody's property, whether it's somebody's car, whether it's vandalism, there's a consequence to it. So growing up, my kids may be shielded from things, but not in the way you think of. Sometimes I'm going to let it hit them right in the face because they'll need to learn how it is. I don't want to continue this thing of saying that because I'm a tough man, I'm going to create these easy times for my children, and those easy times are going to create weak men of the boys I'm raising. I refuse to let that happen. 100%. I refuse to let it be an issue to where I have to worry about the fact that if my son goes outside today, can he keep his composure enough to know not to get shot by a police officer just because he did nothing wrong? I want my son to be able to understand that sometimes you're going to be attacked at all angles because of the color of your skin, and all you can do is chuck it up and smile. Say, it is what it is. That's a harsh reality. Y'all want to protect these kids and say, just listen to yeah, I do want my children to listen to the police. But just because they listen don't mean they'll be comprehending. So I want my kids to listen and comprehend. I want you to understand just because that police officer is talking to you a certain way or somebody's talking to you a certain way or they're telling you something that they feel like is you, that's not you. Let them talk. That's hate. That's all it is. It's just hate. I want them to be able to know it's going to come, it's going to happen, but it's not a problem I don't want you to avoid it. I want you to be able to tackle it head on. I want you to be able to let somebody talk to you so crazy while you smile at them and you say, damn, you must have had a hell of a morning. You know what I mean? Make them eat they fucking words. That's what I want my children to do. I don't want to create this environment to where my child or children, none of them feel like they have to walk on eggshells in life because they don't know what reality is. And nothing against, my kid's mom, but, way back when we first had our first kid, it's a lot of stuff in reality she didn't really understand, she didn't know about. And that's because, as a parent, I get it now. Your mother was just looking out for you, trying to protect you. You know what I mean? She was just trying to make sure she can do everything she can do for you and make sure you didn't have to go without, right? But that is a sign of, how do I say this? That right there kind of weakens you a little bit. It makes you feel like that you always have to go to your mother to get something done. And as an adult, you shouldn't have to do that. But I'm not going to talk about her for that. When she said it and mentioned it, what did I do? I started showing her things, showing her how to take care of things on her own because, yes, I'm glad that you had a mother that was there to make sure you didn't have to worry about nothing. But there's going to be one day where she's not here. And that one day she's not around, you need to be able to maintain and take care of yourself because of that. You need to be able to be on your own because of that and hold your own. Not to be rude, not to be cruel, not to say, fuck your mom, nothing like that. It's just to say, let's strengthen the weaknesses you already have so that way you don't have to worry about it when it comes up. Those weaknesses you saw, you've already worked on and you've already changed. You know what I mean? Instead of it being popped up. But I don't want my children to be under that same umbrella to feel like, well, dad and mom are always figuring it out, so we good. No. I want them to see dad and mom probably do know how to get it done and figure it out. But this is a you lesson, so you gonna learn. You know what I mean? It's time for you to go ahead and get some growth, you know? So I'm not here to shield my children about nothing. There are a lot of conversations that are going to be had throughout my children's lives that I, for one, I'm not saying that I want to have these conversations. I'm not saying that I'm looking forward to having them. What I'm saying is that they need to happen. They have to happen. They have to be there. I wouldn't be doing my kids any justice by not giving them every bit of information I know so that they can learn from it. Because there's going to be a day where they're going to know more than me, and I'm going to be grateful that when that day comes. Because I want you to be able to take what I've taught you and go ahead and utilize everything I've taught you and you learn from me, and to make it an even better experience for you in the future, to where you don't have to worry about, you know, small things because you are prepared for them. I just don't want my little ones to ever sit up there and say, you know what, well, regardless of everything that's going on, I don't know what to do right now because dad isn't here. Or, you know, like, hey, I'm just going to give up because I don't really know what else to do. The fact that I'm raising, you know, 4 children altogether, but 2 black men, the biggest thing that I will put on them is taking care of their mental health. You know what I mean? Regardless of what's going on, what the situation may be, I want to be that father that I can actually instill into them on how to talk, how to express themselves. So this is something I don't have to worry about. So I can break the cycle of them saying, well, tough men create weak men. I can break the cycle and say, you know, as a strong man, I've created more strong men. I've created a couple of them, and hopefully they go on to create some themselves, and, you know, their little ones create more and more and more and more. I want to be the reason people say, wow, your great-great-great-great-great-great-grandfather or your ancestors, whoever it was, they look back and say they did right by the way they raised you all. I want to end the cycle of my bloodline being raised in fatherless homes, being raised in toxic homes, dysfunctional homes. I don't want my little ones to have to go through any of that. What I want them to be able to do is express themselves, talk things out, work through things in a healthy way. I'm not saying it's going to be perfect on the road to teach them that. There's going to be a lot of roadblocks, a lot of issues, a lot of mistakes. It's going to be a lot happening to where I may have issues doing it. But the thing is consistency. It's how much I try, how much work I put in to get there for them, you know, how many days and nights I put that and instilled the discipline into my children. That's what I'm going for. I want to create a bloodline of where everyone that comes from me or from someone that came from me knows how to handle themselves in a healthy way, or at least is willing to work on it. And if I can teach mine to grow up that way, I'm sure they can put it on and pass it down to theirs, and so on and so forth. I want to be in the business of creating healthy patterns. And I want to start with the family I created, because that's an environment that I can somewhat control. That's an environment that I can somewhat, how do you say this? Tweak. And I don't want to say tweak is like into my favor, but it's an environment to where when I see something wrong, I can work together with everyone in the environment to fix it, rather than trying to do it alone and feeling like, hey, you know what, I got this, I can fix it, and then I'll blow everything down and everything's to shit and nothing is working. So, hey, teach his own, right? That's just me. That's what I'm trying to do. I mean, it's not what I'm trying to do. That's what I will do when it comes to my little ones. I guarantee you I will not have to worry about them trying to express themselves, because if they're going to be anything like their father, it may be hard at first, but the more practice they do with it, the easier it's going to become. The easier it's going to become. The last thing I want them to worry about, though, is hearing that, because this is the one that gets me. Every time a man is trying to express themselves or say something, they get told, or they get this thing, well, as a man, you shouldn't. As a man, you shouldn't. And I say this with the utmost respect, and some of y'all going to hate me for it. Stop listening to a woman on what a man should be, especially these women that came from fatherless homes. I'm not saying that to be disrespectful. I'm saying that to prove a point. She can't tell you what a man should be like. She don't even know. Her mama don't even know. Hell, if her grandma know, maybe, if she lucky, right? You can't sit here and as a man, you sitting there letting a woman tell you in your ear what you need to do to be a man. Sounds like you need to be on the other team, my boy. No disrespect, but it sounds like she's wearing the pants in that relationship. Y'all have to sit there and realize that you cannot sit here and deal with, here's a point that people don't like me making, but I make it anyway. A lot of women are claiming the fact that these men ain't shit and these men ain't nothing and yada, 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 and they horrible and they this and they that and they do this wrong and do that wrong. But a lot of these so-called men that they say that about are raised by who? Single women. What a shocker. They're raised by single women. So if you're telling me that a woman is raising this child to be like that and to this ain't shit man you allegedly say he is, if a woman is raising him like that, whose fault is it really? I say it all the time. I thank God for my stepdad coming into my life. He showed me the right direction on what to do as a man. On what to be and how to be. And I took that advice and I leap forward with it. As you see, I do my best with it. But I've never seen him sit there and allow. How put it like this? Whenever my mother tried to step in men's business when it came to him raising us or giving us advice or stuff, he would always tell her, and he would say, no disrespect, but this ain't your field. This ain't your line of work. And I appreciate that for him because all he's saying is, I know you're concerned. I know you care. But right now, this is something I got to do for these boys because, I know where to come from. I know what to say to them. I know what to instill into them. I thank God for the discipline. Like my mother did great at disciplining too, but I'm sure after a while that, her hits would have stopped hurting. But I thank God for my stepdad with that discipline. It's more so of this is why you're in trouble and this is what's going to happen. But he instilled respect and discipline into us. So I say that to say this. You can't sit up here and talk about these men that were raised by women. You got to go talk to these women that raised them because that's where the blame goes to. I'm just saying. Me personally, I will never sit there and tell my daughters, if they choose to go that way. I'm never finna tell my daughters or my son, I'm not finna tell them how anybody should treat them. And I say it like this. If my daughter, she likes women, I'm not finna tell her how a woman should treat her. I just don't know. I can't give you that advice. You know what I mean? The same thing if my son, he ends up going that way and he deals with men, then, I can't tell you how a man should love you. Like, that just ain't me. I ain't been there before. I can't do it. You know what I mean? But what I can do is give you advice on, if you're in the right line, if you are traditional and, you are a man that likes women, a woman that likes men, I can tell my son what not to allow. This is what you shouldn't allow a woman to do. But I'm not telling you how she should treat you. Because every woman is going to be different. And depending on what you want as a man is depending on what she's going to do for you. But I can still tell you what not to allow. As my daughter, I can tell you all day long how a man should treat you. Because I do it. I hold doors. I buy flowers for you. I treat you with respect. I treat you with kindness. I treat you with love. That's exactly what I would do for you. That's exactly what a man should do for you. Treat you the same exact way. And to hell of it. If they want to listen, they want to listen. If they don't want to listen, they don't. But I did my job. I sat them down and had that conversation. I can give advice, but I'm not here to tell you what to do at all whatsoever. I never want my kids to feel like they got to be controlled by my decisions. Let me give you advice and tell you what'll happen if you do it this way versus what might happen if you do it this way. Whether you choose to listen to that is completely up to you. Right? This is just the advice I can give you on how it's going to work either way, what might happen. But I want you to be able to make your own decisions without thinking in the back of my head, what would my dad do? Or if you got to do that, hey, so be it. So be it. But I want you to be able to say, well, my dad would do this, but I think it'll work better for me if I do it this way because I'm in this position, not him. Teach his own. But, man, I'm telling you, I cannot wait to see the kind of children I raise. I really can't wait to see. I don't think there's any way that I could fail. I feel like the only way that I fail is if I don't try. Because, again, it's not going to be an easy task. It's not going to be something that happens every single day that I can work on and fix. Sometimes with these little ones, it takes patience, and patience is a virtue. I'm not a doctor, but I do have patience. Well, for them at least, because I know how it is. All in all, man, it's just, fellas, our ego and our pride is ruining a lot. And regardless on whether or not y'all want to sit here and admit it, whether y'all want to sit here and deal with it and justify it, whatever the case may be, it is definitely something that has to be worked on. So whether you do it with me, whether you do it with a therapist, whether you do it with your friends and family, that ego and that pride, man, learn the difference. Learn the balance. Learn to use your confidence and let it lift you up, while also learning to put your ego in check to not bring you down. It's really that simple and easy. This past week, I've had to constantly remind myself that, and remind myself that it's the small victories. And that alone is just putting me in a better mind space. But I'm glad y'all were able to see last week. You were able to see me in a state of mind where I was just like, I didn't have a lot of words. I didn't have a lot to say, I was just like, I was lost, And now you have me here a week later, all put back together, better than Humpty Dumpty, if you might ask. Working on it, you know what I mean? Following through with my game plan and doing what I have to do for myself. And again, fellas, man, all of that talk about not going to therapy, do it. It's needed. It helps. It works. Clearly, I'm a prime example. Look at me years ago and then look at me today, and you will see my growth exponentially. You will see how much I've grown just off the fact that I can sit there and go to therapy and talk about the shit that bothers me. You know what I mean? But I'll tell y'all right now, when you're going to therapy and you're trying to get this done, don't let that ego and pride get in the way of it. Because that ego would hold you back thinking that you can do it all on your own. And sometimes you need a little help. And it's okay. It's all right. I'm telling you right now as a man, as one that's been there, it is okay to have a little help. It is okay to seek a little help. I would much rather go find and seek help than go find and seek a coffin. I'm just being honest. So take care of yourselves. And that's from the heart. Do what you got to do. Stay on top of your game. Take care of yourself. If you need to reach out to me, man, I'll tell y'all I try to reach out. Anytime I see anybody needing to talk, I try to reach out. Don't be afraid to reach out to me. I don't care if I got to take a break at work, if I got to call you at 3 a.m. because you want to talk. Reach out. I'd much rather hear you talk about your issues than keep them all bottled in. But definitely don't forget to follow me on the socials. TikTok is Juss Quanni 23. Facebook is Marquan Thomas or Quan. Facebook, Joe Thomas, either or. You can also find me on Facebook at Choose Your Character, which is the page for the business. Don't forget Instagram is going to be Juss Quanni, JussQuanni. That's Instagram and Twitter, but it's also Quanni 702, so QUANNI 702. And what did I forget? That's Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. That's YouTube is Juss Quanni as well. I don't think I forgot anything, but if I did, feel free to reach out to me. And don't forget you can catch me next week on the hottest radio station on the planet every Wednesday at 4 p.m. on Hot 702.5 FM. So I'll say it again to y'all. Peace, love, and hair grease. I'll catch y'all next week.